changed my name thinking that it would change my mind. I thought that all my problems, they would stay behind. I was a stick of dynamite and it just was a matter of time, yeah.
Oh dang, oh my, now I can't hide. Said I knew what I wanted, but I guess I lied.
It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. If you're lost, we're all a little lost, and it's alright. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. If you're lost, we're all a little lost, and it's alright, it's alright. It's alright, it's alright, it's alright.
Yeah, I wrote 100 pages, but I burned them all. Yeah, I burned them all. I blow through yellow lights and don't look back at all. I don't look back at all.
Oh dang, oh my, now I can't hide. Said I knew what I wanted, but I guess I lied.
It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. If you're lost, we're all a little lost, and it's alright. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. If you're lost, we're all a little lost, and it's alright, it's alright.
Oh, it's alright to be lost sometimes. You should know you're beautiful just the way you are, and you don't have to change.
Sorry guys. Hello everyone. Good afternoon. Trust your day is going great. Sorry for the delay. We had a few network glitches, but we'll just go on with the classes today. Sorry, welcome to week 3. Oh, sorry, week 2. Week 2 of our business analysis class. And as always, my name is Gloria, your mentor for the duration of this program. And because we have taken so much already and not to take more of our time, we'll just go on with the class. So today we're talking about business analysis. And like I mentioned, when you come in, do not forget to say hi so that we know that you are here and we'll be able to, you know, communicate and talk through the entire class. Today we'll be talking about business analysis, planning, and stakeholder management. Last week we spoke about um, business analysis and management. But this week we'll be talking about business analysis, planning, and stakeholder management. So yeah, let's just go on into it. So this week the content is crucial for understanding how effective plan and executing business analysis tasks while managing the people involved. By mastering this technique and concept, you will better equipped to learn successful projects to lead, such as successful projects that align with organization goals and meet stakeholder needs. So stakeholder analysis and management techniques. Firstly, we need to understand what is stakeholder. Last week we established the fact that when you are drafting in an organization, you're drafting using data analysis to prevent solutions to problems that companies might have, you must make sure that the solutions that you are creating are relevant to the stakeholders of the company, which we were able to, business analysis and which we're able to identify as our customers, shareholders, and others. So today we will talk broad on the concept of stakeholder. So they are individual stakeholders are individuals or group of an organization that have an interest in or are affected by the outcome of a project. They can include customers, employees, suppliers, regulators, and anyone else who has a stake in success or the failure of a particular project. So let's use a company, for instance. If they have a stake in the company, say I'm an employee, I have a stake in the company, and if I that automatically makes me a stakeholder. So whatever decision that the company is making is going to have an effect on me. So that's why I'm a stakeholder. Stakeholder analysis. This process involves identifying all stakeholders, understanding their needs and expectations, assessing the level of influence and interest, and determining how to manage their involvement in a project. So let's say for an employee, what's their level of interest in a project? Say maybe the company is running a particular project that's supposed to bring or initiative that is supposed to bring in something good, maybe a growth into the company. What is the interest of the employee in it? If this project works well, it simply means a win situation for the employee because it's that they get a raise, seeing that the project was successfully executed. For stakeholders, if they invest their money, like shareholders, and the project that was mentioned does well, it simply means that they will definitely have something to gain at the end because the return on investment is going to be better than what they usually receive. So, which is something that is good, which is why we need to, and for stakeholder analysis, it is easy for you to identify the influence and the interest. Now, another thing you should understand is that the influence of one stakeholder can be greater than the other. The influence of a shareholder in a company compared to an employee varies wildly. So we're going to be understanding that in this the course of this program. Technique for stakeholder analysis. Now, stakeholder mapping, this visual tool helps to identify and categorize stakeholders based on their influence and their interest. It can help prioritize which stakeholder to focus on and how to engage. So last week we spoke extensively on what data and what business analysis and management could do in a company. And we use the current situation of banking systems in Nigeria where they have this certain amount of capital investment that they need to have in their accounts. And then they're trying to like gain this capital investments with something. And they doing this, they decided, okay, let's sell shares so that we can get this capital investment. We can get this fund, sorry, this money that the CBN wants each individual bank to have so that their license are not revoked and others. Now, when we're talking about this, how do I put it? Say this business, this banking system now, for instance, when the business analysts were going, the data analysts were going through the data and trying to find a solution to this problem, who do you think they had the highest influence in whatever solution that they were going to bring out? Do you think it's the employees? Because you've already identified that the employees too in the company are stakeholders. So that's involved from the managers to the cleaners to the procurement officer to any other person that works in the company. Now, who do you think the company puts first when trying to resolve an issue like this? Oh, we have been faced with the threat of lockdown. If we do not avert our bankruptcy issue, say maybe a company that deals in manufacturing and they are at the verge of bankruptcy, and then they call in their business analysis team to come look into the business and say look into their data and find solutions to the problem. So do you think these data analysts, when they do find the solution, would be their most like prioritized stakeholders? Do you think it's the employees? Do you think it's just their investors? Do you think it's just going to be their shareholders, or does other groups of people that might have like interest in the company? So it is with the technique of knowing stakeholder analysis that helps people, that help the business analysts to be able to derive who do they help more. The solution I'm providing, who does it benefit more? So there's a grid of power over interest that we use for stakeholder analysis. Which one is power over interest grid? This is a specific grid type for stakeholder mapping that categorizes stakeholders into 4 different groups. Now you can use this to identify who you help more. So one is high power over high interest, meaning the stakeholder does not just have high interest, he also has like high power. So if the person says I'm working out of this business, it will almost mean a shutdown of the company. So these stakeholders should be managed closely. These ones are the ones that you should be your high priority when you're profounding solution as a business analyst. The next one will be high power and low interest. They do have high power, but they do not care about the affairs and the run of the company. What they care about is that at the end of the day, the company is doing good. So these stakeholders should be kept satisfied. The company is doing good, and I think mostly this is going to fall under. So let's say a CEO I'm going to be using a manufacturing company that manufactures beverages this time around. Now, I will see that they have a very high tall rise building and it's like an incorporation. Now, most times what you get is that these companies sell shares and then they have like the highest shareholder being the managing director of the company, probably like the CEO. Maybe the CEO, who is the founding father of the company, has like a higher stake. Now, this CEO has the high power and also has high interest because for him, this company needs to continue to grow, needs to continue to be afloat. So that is an example of a stakeholder that has high power and high interest. The next one would be high power and low interest. Let's say a shareholder. Oh, I just bought shares in the company. I really do not know what happened with the company, but I just know that at the end of the day, the return of investments that comes to me, the ROI, should be satisfying, should be something that looks like, okay, I should buy more shares. Should not be like, oh, I wasted my money trying to invest in the company. And there are some companies like that, like the example that I mentioned, a beverage company, where these stakeholders, the shareholders, put in a whole lot of money. So you want to keep those people satisfied. Now, low power and high interest, this stakeholder should be informed. They don't have too much, power, but they need to be informed. This is going to be like the masses. Like for instance, the bank now that is opening their shares, the doors of their shares to the public. If I buy a share worth 200,000 naira probably from one bank, let's say we call it Palex, and then I buy a share from them. I don't have so much capacity to influence the decisions that the company make, but I would want to know what they are doing with the money. I would want to know what they are doing um part time so that I know if my money is still safe or not. You understand? So I am like a low power, but I also have like high interest. You need to keep me informed. And then we have low power and low interest, and this require minimal attention. And these are like B employee. They don't have power as much. Oh, and I think no, I think the minimal employees, like the menial employees, they don't have so much power. They don't really know what's happening in the company. They just want to know if their job is at stake. They just want to know if it's like probably like the cleaners, the office assistants. They don't really know what's going on in the company. They don't have so much power to influence the decisions that are going on in the company. But these ones they need attention, but not so much attention. So even though you're doing analysis, it should cover them, but they should not be the priority. Okay, so with that understanding, we'll move on. Now, communication planning. After identifying stakeholders, communication plan ensures that each stakeholder receives the right information at the right time. This plan includes who communicates with whom, how often, and through what channel. Who communicates with who? Like you cannot assign a particular team for all of these grades of stakeholders that we have seen in the previous slides. You need to know who exactly can communicate to who. Like for instance, the ones that have high power and minimal interest, who needs to be satisfied. For instance, say I in that beverage company that we have been using for as an example, I invested a whopping sum of 200 million into the business. Or let's use the popular business Dangote, and I own about 40% shares. I really don't know what's happening in the company. I just know that the capital in the return of investment at the end of the year is something I smile about every time I get. Uh, who do you think will communicate to me if there's an issue in the company, or maybe there's like something that I need to know? Who do you think will communicate that to me? Who do you think is the best person to have, conversations with me? I think the best person would be like the CEO. The best person would be the CEO to say, oh, okay, oh, hi, Jovita, welcome. I see you. Hi. Don't forget, if you have any question, you can put it in the comment section and we'll be available to answer. So for stakeholders like that who have like high interest and who have like high power but minimal interest, it is best that the CEO, probably the management team, communicates to them, because now we need to keep them satisfied and you cannot assign just anybody to keep those people satisfied, because they have how do I call it? They have a certain attention that they need, that needs to be satisfied at every time. For further readings, you can check the Project Management Institution, PIM, Stakeholder Management, or a book or a Babok guide chapter on stakeholder analysis. All these are online, but we can share the resources to you on the Discord channel. If you need it, just signify and it will be shared across to you. I think sharing of resources will also start as soon as possible, probably before the end of the week. You should get resources relating to your courses in individual spaces, but I'm going to be sending this to you on your Discord. The next we'll be discussing is going to be the BA approach and methodology. So BA means the business analysis, so let's not confuse. The BA approach and methodologies, it simply means how we handle a particular project. So we have the waterfall approach, we have the agile approach, and we have the hybrid approach. These are different project management and different methodologies that we use to handle projects or problems in the company. Now, it's not usually problems, it's projects. So when I'm giving a task to run, say, okay, the company wants to scale up or maybe want to do something and they need me to handle let me use a physical project. So there was once upon a time I had to handle the company was trying to organize their conference, first shareholder conference, where they would have to show the shareholders what they have been doing in the last 1 year. You get 1 year. And they needed to assign this task to someone that is going to be like the head supervisor to see through this project and make sure that the project come into life. Now you might say, it's just a conference. It's something that a events planner can handle, because it is not something that an event planner can handle. Because an event planner can just get the already decorated. What are they going to do on that day? What are the things that we need to see on that day? What are the things that the stakeholders need to hear? What are the things that need to be in place for this to be conference enough? Those are things that this project manager has to put in place, which is something a business analyst can also do, because they learn how to manage problems, they learn how to manage projects. They know before it is escalating. They are seeing it that, okay, with this amount of process that we are putting on, with this amount of effort you're putting into a job, I can see that this job is going to flop. Oh, you're not putting too much interest into this. I can see that this job is not going to work, this project is not going to work, or you're not going to carry it to the end. A business analyst can see that. And a manager using this information can also see that. So that's why we're talking about this. For to continue the conversation, waterfall, we'll start with waterfall, like on different of these methodologies. Waterfall is a linear and sequential approach where each phase of projects must be completed before the next one begins. This methodology works well in projects with clear defined requirements. They are unlikely to change. However, it could be flexible and slow to respond to change. I'm going to give you an example of what this is. So I use an example of you wanting to handle a conference. Now you know what it's supposed to be. You know that the first thing you should do when you are handling a conference is, first, you want to get how many people are coming. You want to know the details of how many people you're expecting, so that you know how many the size of hall you're getting for the conference. What are we talking about? What's the theme? what are the requirements that we need to have? What are the things that we need to have ready? Who are the speakers for the event? Or do we have backup for the speakers? Or what are the things that needs to be in place for this event to go well? Now, for waterfall, it is a linear and sequential approach. It's more waterfall approach is going to be more like cooking. I'm going to be using cooking, for example. If it's more like, oh, for cooking you cannot add oil first before water. You have to put, there's a process and a pattern to things, though things are changing up a bit, but there's a pattern you need to follow for something to be nice. Or like baking, I need to put water in flour so that it does not have lumps. There's a certain way I need to knead it for a particular amount of minutes before it becomes like this. Those are like, that's how waterfall approaches is. It is sequential. It is one step after the other. They have clear steps, one step after the other. They are not prone to change. You have to finish one before you start the other. You can't say, oh, let me do this a bit and then do this a bit and do this a bit. Majorly, this can work when you are working for, those routine companies like say you work as a chef. The first thing you want to do when you get into the kitchen is to wash your hand. There's no two way about it. You cannot miss that step. You need to wash your hand first before you do any other thing. That's how a waterfall project management method is. The next one would be agile. So agile is an interactive and flexible approach that emphasizes collaboration, customer feedback, and small, rapid release of functional products increments. Agile is well suited to projects where requirements may evolve. Scrum and Kanban are popular work frame within Agile. Now, most people that do project managers, like they call them maybe Scrum Masters these days, they work with the Agile method of project management. Now, while Agile method these days taking the forefront compared to the other methods is because Agile is flexible. So Agile methods is going to be more like the method that companies who are trying to develop a product use. So what's the first phase you do? When you have this product and you want to bring it to the market, the first thing you do is to take it out and let people see it. Let people use it and then give you feedback, and then you know what is supposed to be inside this product and what is not. You find you get feedback from customers and they're telling you, I think the salt is too much in this chinchin, you need to tone it down. Or I think you should make it fried, not baked. Or I think you should put a little bit of more cream. People giving you this feedback would make the products better, so that when you bring it out into the larger markets, you are not bringing out a failure, you're bringing something that has like evolved. So that's what Agile is. Agile gives you time for small and rapid release of functional products increments. So you do things in bits and pieces. So that's why, like, for people who create apps or something, what they do is that they release the test version first, and people use the test version all around, and they exploit, and they tell you, oh, there was this lagging in the network, or there was this, there was that, and all of a sudden the next day those laggings are not there anymore. That's because they've used the information gotten from the external people who use a test version to improve it. So that's what Agile workflow looks like. Now, the third one would be hybrid. A hybrid approach combines elements of both waterfall and Agile. For example, a project might start with a waterfall approach, but the planning phase, and then switch to Agile for development. This allows teams to take advantage of the structure of waterfall and flexible Agile. Now, for me personally, one of the approaches that I like is the hybrid, because on paper I have all of the steps that I want to do, but when I start in the process, I find out that, okay, there are some things that I did not calculate, there are some contingencies that were miscalculated. Hybrid method gives me the room to go back, because I started with a very distinct, after this is this, after this is this, and then I'm switching over to the agile method because I'm working with the what's the hybrid approach. And teams that work with the hybrid approach tend to have more connectivity, more connection gap is being bridged, and it helps like generally in a work frame. So you can use one of any of this approach when you are trying to run your data analysis. And next would be application of business analysis. Now, when you do learn of all of this, where do you apply it? All of these methodologies that you have on this, that we have spoken about today, where do we apply it? Now, in waterfall business analysts focus on defining detailed requirements upfront, which are then passed to the development team. In agile, business analysts work closely with the development team, continuously referring and reprioritizing requirements based on feedback. Now, in hybrid, the approach is tailored to the needs of the project, allowing business analysts to adjust their technique as needed. So explain. In waterfall, the business analyst just sits in the office. They do the data, they do everything. They know that it's step by step by they write a step by step guide on how to solve the problem, and they just pass it on to the development team and say, "Oh, I've done my bit. You can go on and do that. You do not change anything. I know you already know the process, so just do it." Now, for Agile, the business analysts work directly with the management or the development team to see that these projects work hand in hand. Say I am the strategist, I have drafted out all the plans and things that we need to do. I have seen data and I've seen, okay, in the previous days we did this, or now we can do better with this following method. I don't just give it to development team. I work with them because I understand that things might change along the way, but let's do it together. So let's do it together. So when they do change, I would be in the know, and we can create something else that would work. Now, in hybrid, the approach is tailored in the needs to the needs of the project, allowing business analysts to adjust the technique. So this would be typical the hybrid way. Let's see as we go. The hybrid will be the typical, oh, we are going to work it along as we go. We are going to just do it as we, keep going, keep growing in the company. We would walk along the process. That's what the hybrid does. If you go through the documents, you find further readings on how you can get more understanding if you do not understand from the explanation that we have on the different methodologies and the differences between the three systems. Now, planning business analysis activities and communication. And planning business analysis activities, this involves creating a detailed plan that outlines the tasks, resources, timeline, deliverables for business analysis activities. The goal is to ensure that all necessary analysis work is completed on time and on a high standard. And if you are creating a project and you are a business analysis on that project, mostly it is going to require businesses. It is going to require in business or in a corporation per se. And you need to be able to create a detailed outline task. Say the aim is to, let me use the example that I've used before, is supposed to organize a conference for shareholders for the year. So what do you think the step-by-step guide should be? You should know the resources that should be available for you to make this program a success. You should know who you are assigning this task. So you should know the timeline to which each of these tasks needs to be done when you are assigning. You need deliverables. Okay, if I assign these tasks to you, what are the deliverables I need to see to know that these tasks are done and done properly? What are the activities that needs to go on? What are the planning procedures that needs to go on? That's one of the ways you can apply your knowledge for as a business analyst. The goal is to ensure that all necessary analysis work is completed on time and a high standard. And I think most times when we hear the word analysis, we think data. Sometimes it's not just data, sometimes it's just information also that we need to be privy to. It's not just us trying to transcribe data, it's also us trying to use the information that we already have to make something better. And key components will be work breakdown structure, which is what WPS. WBS is the um I think the easiest way to make your life as a corporate analyst better for you to actually, as a project manager actually better. A hierarchy decomposition of the total scope of work to be carried out by the business analysis team is break down the project into smaller and manageable tasks. So for instance, we are tasked to that's what are the basics that we should do. You can say, okay, so this person, I need you to find out how many people are coming and get the list of the shareholders so we know them by name. Or I need you to check for then I need a design team to design graphics for the invitation that we can send to the shareholders. Or I need you to check on halls and locations that are best with parking lots that are best in Lagos or the environment that you're using for these stakeholders. I need you to check on past meetings that we've had. What are the things that we've done? What are the places that we can improve on? Your duty is to break down the entire work of putting together an event into smaller, manageable tasks that makes the task doable. Timelines establish when each task should be completed. Don't just say, "Oh, I need you to do this," and tell them, "I need to do this by now, from now to the end of the day, so that it's available." If you're assigning tasks, give them deadlines. If you're doing it yourself, give yourself timelines so that you'll be able to assess everything that's happening. You have data to know that okay, people can actually do it. So the next time you're trying to do a project like that, you'll be like, okay, making research on this can take 4 hours, so you have 4 hours in the day to do this. You already have those data. So that's what we're going to that's the major reason of all of this information. Establishing what tasks should be completed after often using Gantt charts or other project management tool to visualize the schedule. So most times what managers and analysts do is that they have a tool that they use, which mostly is like project management tool or productivity tool that they use to draw like, okay, break this thing into tasks, break this thing into tickets. If you're using Drogo, we use Drogo to assign tickets. Oh, ensure you do this before you then do this, and then make sure you do this because you're seeing this. It's more like a to-do list. It's more like a to-do list that you create a timeline for your project. And the next would be communication plans. This outlines how business analysts will communicate to stakeholders throughout the project. It includes methods, meetings, reports, frequently. How frequent is this communication phase is, and the specific information that needs to be shared. In the process of these projects, how do you now tell people that okay, this is where we at, this is where we are going to be, or what do you think about this to get ideas if you're using the agile method? Well, this is the next step we want to take if you're using the waterfall method because you're already on the next step. But if you're incorporating the hybrid, you're saying, oh, okay, what do we do after we do this? Or do you think we should do this to get ideas? How do you do that? So most times some project management either use meetings or they create like a report template and they send across, or mostly those two. And then you need to identify how often do you use this? Do you have meetings every week or every day? Do you have to send reports every week or every day or every month? So throughout until the duration of the project, how do you communicate? You need to be able to define that. Now, effective communication. It is one thing for you to communicate, it's another thing for the communication to be effective, that you are communicating to the people that you want to pass the information across, that they are hearing you and you can hear them. that you guys are understanding each other and you can find a balance to something that you want to conclude on. Now, clear communication is essential for ensuring that all stakeholders are the same page. Business analysts must be able to convey complex information in a way that's easily understood by both technical and non-technical stakeholders. I have this saying in my brain: if I explain something to a 4 year old and he doesn't understand me, it simply means that I do not understand what I am trying to explain either. Because if we cannot break it down into the simplest term for someone that does not have any business in understanding me to get what I mean, it simply means I do not quite understand what this thing is saying. And as a business analyst, you need to be able to convey the information in your head, communicate it effectively and clearly, so that people that are not in your face will look at the document and say, what is this document saying? Be able to identify that, okay, I can clearly understand and read what this person is trying to pass across. Most, and in this case, it's your stakeholders who are important. Now, organizational behavior basics. Organizational behavior is the study of how people react within group in a work environment. It focuses on understanding human behavior, improving organization effectiveness, and fostering a positive work culture. So you need to also, as a business analyst, understanding how people react in a workspace, what they say. If I present a case to somebody, does the person react? How does the person understand what I say? Um um what's the work culture of this person in a workplace? How does this person work? How does this person communicate? How does this person carry out their tasks that they are assigned? That's what we call like the OB, which is the organizational behavior. And you would see a lot when you're working in a company. You meet different people, and you need to understand that when you're in a position as a project manager or a business analysis or in the management team, you need to understand organizational behaviors. And understanding this will help you to understand the organizational behavior of your stakeholders, who are what's like very important. Now we have group behavior. So we have the individual behavior and then we have the group behavior. Examining, sorry if I'm talking so fast. Group behavior, examining how people behave in teams, the dynamic that influence group performance, such as communication patterns, leadership, and conflict. You know that we have teams in organizations. So we have the design team, we have the marketing team, we have the planning committee, and the rest. Planning team, strategy team. How do this individual team work? Do they work because of the leadership, or do they work because it's like very cool communication strategy between them? Do they work? If you see a department doing well, how do you analyze that? You need to analyze why the department is doing well, what's making them doing well, and how good they're doing. Organizational culture, the shared values, belief, norms within an organization that shape behaviors and attitude. A strong positive culture can lead to increased employee satisfaction and what's better performance. Now, don't forget, you are not just the knight in shining armor when the company is close to bankruptcy as a business analyst. You are also the one that analyzes, okay, what we can do better internally that keeps the company going with the employees. Because if you employ a bad staff, the tendency of your business doing badly is high, because they are the ones that do the day-to-day activities of the company. And so if you're a bad staff, you're going to have a bad work culture. So yes, so as an analyst, when you go into a company, maybe you have a company here of your own, you tend to analyze, okay, what's making this person perform well than this person? What's making this team do well than this? Not leaving anything to chance. Analyze everything. Put it in a document. It must, not it must, put it in a document in a data form so that you can reference back and be able to know what you can do better or what can be done better to help the organization grow in that face. Sorry, a minute. Sorry for the glitch. Yeah, I'll just continue from where we stopped. Okay, so we're done with organizational behaviors. Today we'll talk about the importance of business analysis. Analyst. Now, understanding organizational behavior will help business analysts to predict how people will respond to change and how to manage resistance. This knowledge is critical when introducing new processes, systems, or change within an organization. So you might be asking, oh, why did we do organizational behavior? So with this, because you would be an agent of change in the organization, you need to understand how people would react when they get something like that. Oh, we are closing one department to bring in another. How would people react to that change? Are they welcome into it? Are they open to it? That are one of the things that we need to do. So today we'll be having an assignment. There's an assignment trend that's been open on the community. So you just go there and submit it when you've done that. One of the assignments is this one: stakeholder identification. Now choose a hypothetical or a real project that you are familiar with. List at least 5 key stakeholders involved in this project. So what I want you to do is create a document, draft this project that you want to work. You talk about the project that you want to that you're using. It might not be real, it can be like a case study you'll get. So, or a real project actually that you are familiar with, draft the project so that I know what the project is. And then you list the 5 key stakeholders involved in this project. The 5 key stakeholders that you think are important in this project. And categorize the stakeholders using the power interest grid that we talked about. Explain why you place each stakeholder in a specific quadrant. Now, why you think this person is a high power, high interest, or high power, low interest stakeholder. Now, 2, stakeholder communication plan. Develop a brief communication plan for one of your high power, high interest stakeholder. Your plan should include objectives of communication, preferred communication method, frequency of your communication, and the key message you want to convey. This stakeholder communication plan is who is talking to who, why is this person talking to the person, how is this person talking to the person, how often is the person talking to this stakeholder, and what message do you want to pass. Now make sure that this your power stakeholder is mapped just like it is on these slides. If you look at, if you've been following us from the very beginning, it should be like a 500 words for your communication plan. There's no limit to how many words it is for your case study, but your communication plan should be a 500, a 300 to 500 words. Make it either a PDF or a Google Doc, and you can submit it under the trend on the channel, and you'll be sure that someone would answer you. Yes, I think for the next deliverables, the next assignment would be methodologies. Now write a comparative analysis of waterfall, agile, and hybrid methodology. The analysis should include a brief description of each method's pros and cons, like what is the advantage and the disadvantage of each of these methods. I want to know what's the advantage of waterfall, what's the advantage of agile, and what's the advantage of what hybrids. In the context of business analysis activities, when you're doing this advantage, should be in the context of business analysis activities. Example of projects where each methodology might be effective with two case study. Based on your understanding, choose one of the methodologies and apply it to the project you identified in your first task. Remember, this is the second task. So the project management case study that you identified in your first task, based on the understanding, choose one of the methodologies that you want to apply to accomplish that task, and explain how you would approach the business analysis activities using the methodology. And your deliverable should be a 500 to 700 word comparative analysis and a 300 to 500 word explanation of why you chose that methodology. So if you say, I want to do this project and I'm choosing waterfall, why are you choosing waterfall? Make sure that your explanation is a 300 word, is between 300 to 500 words. And for your comparative analysis, when you're comparing this analysis, you're comparing these methodologies, it should be a 500 to 700 words. I will count it. Okay, all of this is not just to scrutinize you, it's just to make sure that we all understand and we are all on the same page and frame. I think that's all for today. I would be taking your classes. So submission guideline, you can see it. The format should be submit your work in a single PDF. All of this, I don't want two documents, just one PDF. Submit your assignments in a single PDF or Google Doc, which with each part clearly labeled. Now references could include, if you got maybe this project from somewhere, make sure you include your citation following an APA or another recognized academic style. Now, good luck, and I look forward to reading your insights. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, you can put it in the comments section, and yeah, we'll try and answer that. Any questions? Okay. Seems like we do not have any questions. Anyways, thank you for joining us today. I see you, Major Peter. Thank you. And do have a wonderful evening. Make sure you submit your assignments in the trend in the community, okay? And do have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.